Should the use of genetically modified crops be banned? Nowadays, there is a serious food problem, with 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger. Some people insist that genetically modified crops are needed to feed the growing world population. However, I believe that the use of genetically modified crops should be banned for the following reasons. The primary reason is that we do not have enough information about genetically modified organisms at this time. Reliable safety data can only be released by scientists without conflict of interest with major biotechnology companies, but such data is not yet available. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they are grown in monocultures. Farms that grow diverse strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs. Last but not least, producers of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they resist, or is that GMOs are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. This means that farmers can spray more of these chemicals onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhealthy for human consumption. In conclusion, I believe that genetically modified crops should be banned. The scientific community still does not know enough about the potentially harmful effects on GMOs. GMOs are only necessary when pursuing unsustainable farming practices. Also, they promote the use of herbicides. Should the use of genetically modified crops be banned? Should the use of 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 genetically modified crops be banned? Should the use of genetically modified crops be banned? Should the used genetically modified crops be banned? Nowadays there is a a serious food problem with 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger, facing hunger, facing hunger, facing hunger, facing hunger. Nowadays there is a serious problem with 1 in 9 people is 1 in 9 in the world with 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger. Nowadays, there is a serious problem with 1 in 9 people in the world. 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger. Should the use of genetically modified crops be banned? Should the use of genetically modified crops be banned? Nowadays, there is a serious problem with 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger. Some people insist that genetically modified crops should the use of modified should the use of genetically modified crops be banned? Nowadays, there is a serious problem with 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger. Some people insist that some people insist that genetically modified crops are needed to feed the growing world population. Some people insist that genetically modified crops are needed to feed growing population. Feed the growing world population. Needed to feed growing world population. Some people insist that genetically modified crops are needed to feed the growing world population. However, I believe that the use of genetically modified crops should be banned for the following reasons. However, I believe that the use of genetically modified crops should be banned for the following reasons. The primary reason is that we do not have enough information about genetically modified organisms at this time. The primary reason is that we do not have enough information about genetically modified organisms at this time. Reliable safety data can only be released by scientists without a conflict of interest with a conflict of interest with major biotechnology companies, but such data is not yet available. Reliable safety data can be released by scientists without a conflict of interest with major biotechnology companies, but such data is not yet available. But such data is not yet available. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with the sustainable farming. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become necessary with sustainable farming. Furthermore, most of the Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Large agricultural crops, large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and because they are grown 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 because they're grown because they're grown because they're grown in because they're grown monocultures because they're grown monocultures. Large agricultural crop, large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they're they are grown in monocultures because they are grown in monoculture because they are grown in monoculture they're they're grown in monocultures. Large agricultural crops are Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they are grown in monocultures. Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they're grown in monoculture, grown in monocultures. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they are grown in monocultures. monocultures. Farms that grow diverse strategically located crops, however have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs. Even with the farms that grow diverse, strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs, 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 even without GMOs. Farms that grow diverse, strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs, even without GMOs, even without GMOs, even without GMOs. uh, farming, farms that grow farms that grow diverse farms that grow diverse grow diverse strategically located crops, however the capacity the however grow however have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs, even without GMOs. Farms that grow farms that grow farms that grow di- farms that grow diverse strategically located crops, however have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs. Grow diverse. Farms that grow diverse, strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues, even without GMOs. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they're grown in monocultures. Farms that grow diverse, strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs, even without GMOs, even without GMOs, even without GMOs. The primary reason is that farming that we do not have enough information about genetically modified organisms at this time. At this time, reliable safety data can be released by scientists without the conflict of major conflicts of interest with major biotechnology companies, but such data is not yet available. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become necessary with sustainable farming. Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they're grown in monocultures. Farms that grow diverse, strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues even without GMOs. Even without GMOs, last but not least, producers of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. Many herbicides. Herbicides. Producer of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. Last but not least, producers of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they're resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weed. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. Last but not least, producers of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. This means that farmers can spray more spray more of these chemicals onto genetically modified crops. This means that farmers spray more of these crops onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhealthy for human consumption. Unhealthy for human consumption. This means that this means that this means that farms can spray more of those chemicals onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhealthy for human consumption. Human consumption. Last but not least, producers of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. This means that farmers can spray more of these crops of these chemicals onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhealthy for human consumption. This means that farms can spray more of these chemicals onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhealthy for human consumption. Nowadays, there is a serious problem with 1 in 9 people in the world facing hunger. Some people insist that genetically modified crops be needed to feed the growing world population. However, I believe that the use of genetically modified crops should be banned for the following reasons. The use of genetically modified crops should be banned for the following reasons. The primary reason is that we do not have enough information about genetically modified organisms at this time. Reliable safety data can be released by scientists without a conflict of interest with major biotechnology companies. Such data is not yet available. Furthermore, most of the supposed benefits of GMOs become unnecessary with sustainable farming. Large agricultural crops are vulnerable to insects and diseases because they're grown in monocultures. And farms that grow diverse, strategically located crops, however, have the capacity to these issues, even without GMOs. Last but not least, producers of genetically modified crops use too many herbicides. One of the reported benefits of GMOs is that they are resistant to chemicals that kill weeds. The cue is this means that farms can spray more of these chemicals onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhealthy for human consumption. Farmers can spray more of these chemicals onto genetically modified crops, which may be unhappy for human consumption. In conclusion, I believe that genetically modified crops should not be banned. Crops should be banned. Crops should be banned. The scientific community still does not know enough about the potentially harmful effect on GMOs. The scientific community still does not know enough about the potentially harmful effects on GMOs. In conclusion, genetically modified crops should be banned. I believe that genetically modified crops should be banned. The scientific community still does not know enough. Still the community that still does not know. Still does not know enough about the potentially harmful effects on GMOs. In conclusion, I believe that genetically modified crops should be banned. The scientific community still does not know enough about the potentially harmful effects on GMOs. GMOs are only necessary when pursuing unsustainable farming practices. GMOs are only necessary. GMOs are only necessary when pursuing sustainable farming practices. GMOs are necessary when pursuing sustainable farming practices. GMOs are only necessary for pursuing sustainable farming practices. Pursuing sustainable farming practices. GMOs are only necessary for pursuing sustainable farming practices. Also, they promote the use of herbicides. In conclusion, I believe that genetically modified crops should be banned. The scientific community still does not know enough about the potentially harmful effects on GMOs. GMOs are only necessary when pursuing sustainable farming practices. Also, they promote the use of herbicides. use of herbicides, use of herbicides, use of herbicides, use of herbicides, use of herbicides.